Maybe it'll ding this time.
Ding.
Might not.
It might not.
So, all right, we are live in Sparky with Ed.
Hey, Rich.
From Sparked Innovations. So this is our Wednesday live show, which we keep somewhat structured.
Yep.
And we have a word of the day. We'll get to that. So we are on YouTube and Facebook.
Yes.
Under Sparked Innovations for both of them. You can check out our website, sparkinnovations.com.
Yes.
And all of our other social media platforms. So real quick, we do have our sale still running on the website, and our dealers are still running the Spark Innovation sale. So go check that out. And thank you for joining us. We do a show Wednesday and Friday.
Yep.
At 5 p.m. And we want to start, I guess, putting out flyers or notifications for that to bring in people.
I like the Blackhawks. No, I like the Flyers better.
We are from Philly. And so to let everyone know that we are going to go live, so please join us, listen to what we have to say, whether you like it or not.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, in case you want to know a few things about us and what we do, and you can leave a question, a comment, and we'll get to it. So we're going to have a little Q&A session. We're going to try to give some education on a phrase or word of the day or item of the day, and get some back and forth with that. Also, we did mention this week we would start a like the thing, like a giveaway or something.
Oh yeah,
we didn't plan it out.
Yeah, we didn't plan it out.
So I've had it on my mind a little bit, and I kind of know I could just put it out there and we could just do it.
Okay.
If we want to.
If we want to.
Yeah.
Looks like the hand is grabbing me.
It is. All right. So time is up for that. So we get to the actual topic of the day.
Which is?
What is it?
Fuses and fusing.
Which is confusing.
Yes.
Fuses and fusing. Let's talk about that. What about people that don't run fuses in their audio systems?
Oh, man. You're just waiting for a big giant fire. Unless you're, well, even if you're carting it around, even if it's a trailer queen, if you get in an accident, the trailer flips over or something like that, and metal pinches a cable, especially with all the high current and the amount of batteries and capacitors that people have.
Yeah.
That's a big spark. It's a series of big sparks.
Yeah.
It's like pretty much like a welder at that point.
Right.
It's scary.
It is. And we'll get to your feedback a little bit out there. So please leave a comment, question, insurance claims. And I'll talk about my piece with fuses and whatnot. Real quick before we get into that. So that's going to be our topic of the day, as we're going to discuss fuses. So get that in your mind if you have anything stirring that you want to ask about or talk about with fuses, so that we can get to it. In the meantime, we still do have the golden ticket that we give away.
Yep.
2 or 3 people came forward. Do you remember?
There. 2 people have come forward. There are still 3 golden tickies out there.
Yeah. So please, if you ordered something from us and you still hadn't opened the box, please do.
Because there's actually 1 that we have left to give out. So you still have a chance to win.
Yeah. And I plan on giving it out this week. We will put it in a box going out this week. We do have the big sale going on. So check out our website for anything that you've been thinking about. Now would be the time to buy it. And if it's over $150, then you're eligible for a chance to receive one of the golden tickets. And out of the 5 people that do receive the golden tickets, you're entered for a random extra prize, kind of a grand prize type of thing.
Yep, from us.
And one of them could be, a
fuse box.
Yeah. Talking about fuses, we have a fuse box, the FBX12, and we call it that because it has 12 fuses there. So this matches our relay boxes. And this is the one off the shelf, but I got just a board so we can talk about that.
I'm bored of looking at that.
Yeah. So we are talking about fuses today. So we'll get into this. But if you're a golden ticket winner and you get the grand prize, we could just send you one of these. If you are interested in buying one of these, with some extra accessories and other items that we sell. If they add up to $150 and up, then you're entered in the chance to get the golden ticket in general. So we'll talk about that a little bit. Let's go back to the topic of fuses. I did a whole YouTube video on this on the Spark Dead, and to this day, if you are on the Facebook groups for car audio, you see almost every day there's someone asking if they should run fuses or not, or how to properly fuse, or people proud that they're on team no fuse, right? Now, I did that once back with my Horizon, which was a DB Drag SPL burp car. I had a wall. I had my amplifier set up over my batteries. So I had batteries lined up in the back hatch area, and my amplifiers mounted right over them. So the runs of wire were like maybe 10 inches.
I got the runs.
You got the runs from no fuses. So initially I did not run fuses because the thought in my head was, well, I don't want to choke off the power or something or add any resistance. Well, I learned a few things over the years. And number one was, well, I didn't have any issues until in 2002 when someone stole my amplifiers and they cut the wires. I found scorched wires in the back where they had ripped 3 of the amps out. So I could have had a fire back there. But also for maintenance and convenience of that, to be able to take out an amplifier to adjust things, it would have been smart to have fuses. And after that, I did have fuses, even on short runs, to be able to disconnect the fuse just to work on that amplifier or remove it if necessary without having to worry about a wire. You've probably been there too. You then have a live power wire and you're trying to be careful tucking it and maybe wrap tape around it so it doesn't arc on anything. Well, instead of doing that, just loosen the fuse and take it out for a second while you do things, right? So in that case, it acts as a safety breaker or switch. The other thing is just safety in general. Like you said, you don't know if someone's going to rear end you. Even if you're parked, there could be drunk drivers that come and take out your car. So
you don't have to be in the car when this happens.
All right.
You know, it's like if it were only when you were in the car and you only drove a little bit, you know, to work and back every day, and you know, you would look at it and say, okay, well, I'm only in the car for 7 minutes a day, and the chances of it happening, blah blah blah. But no, it can happen in the parking lot. It can happen pretty much anywhere. Obviously, there are better chances of it being on the road, but still. You know, it doesn't take much for this one thing to happen. And once that does happen, kind of like Robert mentioned, you know, you got an insurance problem. What if they find out that you didn't properly fuse? You know, you put in something aftermarket and that's why it caused the fire.
Right.
You're screwed.
Yeah. So it's smart to do. And the idea that a fuse adds resistance or chokes off power isn't necessarily true. If it's properly sized fuse and all your connections and wire are of good quality conductive material, if you use all copper stuff, aluminum's good too, you should not have drop. If you do have any drop through a fuse holder, then you got some sort of loose connection or something's improperly spec'd.
Now, we would recommend that you swap out the fuse link, because that, you know, is probably not the best conductor. But I think other than that, just using proper conductive material that's not of a low grade, like there are crappy fuses out there. There are low grade.
Yeah.
So you want to make sure that you have something that's not going to flake off or
the fake gold stuff. When I was an installer, we had a problem with fuses that kept on melting without blowing.
It's got a micro arc, right? The micro arcing that happens.
It was the coating. It was like that fake gold plating that was peeling off just enough where there were probably tens of thousands of tiny microscopic arcs underneath where the fuse was. So that adds heat. Heat builds up and can melt the fuse holder or the wire or the fuse itself without actually having the current flow through the fuse to make it blow. So things like that happen. So it has to be good quality. Don't cheap out and just buy the $1 brass or gold plated fuses from Amazon or whatever. All right, we'll get to you. Okay. Get something good quality. And if you're running super high current and high power, something like a ceramic fuse where the additional heat doesn't melt any of the housing materials of it, and it's just a good conductor. So that's always a good thing to do.
John Williams is a good conductor.
I love John Williams. Yeah. Now, okay, so what section are we in? We got blah blah blah. I think I set the timers wrong anyway, so we're just gonna keep on.
We're just gonna keep on moving.
Yeah. So the suggestion is, and when going to a fuse holder like ours, what this is for small wire stuff, anytime you branch a circuit, you should fuse. And the reason is, if you have, let's say you have a wire that can carry 100 amps and you fuse it at 80 amps. Well, then you branch that, right, to wire that can now carry, say, 20 amps or 10 amps, you know, a lot lower amperage, but you still have that big 80 amp fuse in. Well, each smaller wire that branches off now has the potential to burn up if it's grounded out somewhere and you want to protect that branch. Because fusing, that's what you're doing. You're protecting the vehicle and the wire. It's not the accessory. It almost has nothing to do with whatever accessory. The accessory connected does determine your low side of that fuse. That accessory, when powered on, does not blow the fuse. But any fuses in the vehicle are to protect the vehicle and the wiring. Your fuse box under your dash, you know, that says parking lights and AC and radio and horn and all that, isn't protecting those items. It's protecting the wire that runs around sharp metal and whatever, and screws and all that stuff to get to that accessory in case you're in a collision or someone's doing work on the vehicle or whatever it may be, right?
Urine collision is
you don't want to get collided by urine.
Yeah, you don't want to do that.
So we have the FBX 12, which you can use as a small wire distribution center. And we fuse it, so every time you split and have a new circuit coming off here, it has a fuse to be able to protect it. And we include 25 amp and 15 amp fuses, but if you had a small little wire going to an accessory that was going to draw 3 amps, you can put, you know, 2.5 or 5 amp fuse or whatever your circuit calls for. You can, and we sell different size blade fuses for that purpose too.
Speaking of, we got Paul Galanos from G2 Dynamics. He's got his own fuse blocks.
You can wrap them in duct tape, he says.
You could wrap them in duct tape. He's got his own big A&L fuse blocks, the singles.
Yeah.
It's almost sold out from what I hear, but hopefully he'll get more in soon.
Yeah, and there's different size fuses out there for different applications and different amounts of current. Obviously, the ATC, are they called ATC?
ATO.
Yeah. The blade fuses are mostly for small stuff like what we're doing here, and the A&L fuses are for the big stuff like you would use for your power wire going to from the battery to the amplifier. What else was I going to say? I had a train of thought that got derailed, and no, I don't remember it. So we were talking about branching off circuits and whatnot, and most automotive fuses are of this style, and we have a fuse puller that goes with them. So like I said, you can change it to what you need, because every time you branch off, you should properly fuse. And there's guides out there how to do that, and properly calculating your current draw is important. We can help you though. If you want to buy the accessories, but you're not quite sure and you don't want to go into the work of researching and calculating things, you can always call us or email us and we'll help out. We just talk to probably every day. We talk to at least one person about their electrical system. Give recommendations of batteries, where they should mount things and how many and what goes with what and whatever it is. And if you do have a question along those lines, again, feel free. Right now, you have us live for another 15 minutes. Ask a question or a comment. We can ask you a question. Do you fuse or do you not fuse? To fuse or not to be fused?
No, fuse. Always.
Fuse always.
Protect yourself.
But are you on team no fuse? And if so, why?
Yeah, why?
Because I'm broke, damn it. Spend all your money on amplifiers.
No,
right?
it's because they want it, the low resistance, high current, and they think that that's gonna improve it by a giant margin, which is not the case.
Yeah. Let's create controversy to get more views. And controversy is no fusers are not good.
Oh, damn.
Oh, snap. But that is my recommendation and our view.
It's my recommendation as well.
We like being protected. Do you remember? Let's share a little story. MCM Electronics.
Yeah.
And laying out systems or upgrades or changes. And it was kind of like a fun thing. It's like when you're a kid and it's Christmas and you have the Sears catalog. We'd get the MCM catalog.
Oh, yeah.
And just like pick out all the terminal posts and the distribution blocks and the fuse blocks and like, and then when we ordered it and got it all in and a box of all the bling, all the shiny stuff, like, oh man, and I still own. So actually, didn't I put one in your car? I'm pointing over there, but your car's outside. My ring terminals from MCM.
Oh, really? That's
from
where they
back
came from?
in the day. Yeah,
That's awesome.
In 1996, when I got them. So part of it, yes, it is an investment. Good quality fuse holders and fuses and wire and connectors cost money.
Jaguar too.
But it's worth it. I have heard of a few lower cost brands out there using the substandard grade of aluminum for their connectors and distribution blocks and stuff like that. So you do have to.
What about the mid-range?
For the mid-range, no, they don't have.
No, it's just sub.
Just yeah. But that is something. If you want to save a buck or two, there's reasons for that. Things cost what they cost for good reasons.
Yeah. Yeah.
If you get down to the nitty-gritty of the material, raw aluminum that has a higher conductivity rating than another brand of aluminum or a grade of aluminum, it's going to cost more because of that.
Right. Well, you also have copper, which is usually more expensive,
but it's even a better conductor.
Yeah. And then there's the whole thing with using copper in a vehicle. Paul knows about this, the corrosion factor.
Galvanic corrosion.
Yeah. So you always have to watch out for that. If there's any moisture, just in the air, it's enough. Over time, it'll start turning green. Get a nice little patina on there.
You drive your car into a lake, that's even worse.
Isn't Rich's hairpiece fused to his scalp? I got a haircut just to show you. Actually, no, I just threw on a new hairpiece. I just bought a new one for this live stream right here, and I put it on, knowing that you would comment on it.
Fuses are overrated. Prove me wrong. Well, here's the thing. This one is rated at 15 amps. And we actually have tested our fuses here. Was it the 3 amp we were testing in Speedy?
Yeah, it didn't blow until 4.
Yeah, so it was underrated.
Yeah.
Yeah, there you go. I can show you our test results someday.
Overrated.
We got anything else in there? You guys kill me. Hopefully, it's a long, drawn-out death. No, I'm kidding. You're a good guy, Mark. Fusing equals loss, right, Edward? No, see?
No,
it means you lose the ability to burn down your car easily.
Yes.
Yeah.
It's just so much energy. I mean, it'd be one thing. I mean, one battery is enough, right? One battery will start a fire if the wire is pinched. But you guys have you ever seen those videos, the UltraCat videos of where they're intentionally discharging it and you see the shower of sparks?
Yeah.
I mean, that's just usually one cap, or a couple of caps they got on there and
using them as welders.
Yeah. And you guys are having these giant systems and lithium batteries and
my post was it yesterday on the MA audio amp, and Scotty Johnson chimed in that he remembers quite well how they come apart because every show he'd blow them.
Oh, right.
Almost every big show I've been to, there's at least one amp that goes up in smoke, and there's been a few fires because of that. We know that lithium. There's been other issues too. Mostly it comes down to install issues. And I've seen where people even do properly fuse and they still have some issues going on because of other things. Well, fusing done properly to the amp, but before the amp with no fuse, 12 feet of wire coming from the source. So placement of it is important too, And again, there's videos out there, including the one I did on how to properly do it. We don't have to fully get into that now. Most of you are professionals and know that stuff anyway.
Yeah, hopefully. And you choose not to anyway. It's bad for you, yet you continue to propagate or perpetuate this.
Well, that brings up a good point that I do want to touch on is we as professionals, I think, have a responsibility where, yes, if you choose not to fuse and you have skill and experience at wiring, you know how to properly tighten down wires, secure them, protect them from each other. Like Rich was saying earlier, you could still have your car parked and some drunk driver comes and hits it while you're in the house, or in a hotel room if you're at a show and stuff like that, or someone breaks into your car and tries to steal stuff. And if you're not fused, how do you know a fire's not going to start from those wires then touching? Mm-hmm. But also, besides that, is you may know what you're doing, but the person that is looking at your install for inspiration and asking questions on Facebook because they don't have the experience, they might not know what they're doing. Yeah. So us as professionals, if we say you shouldn't no fuse or you should fuse, there's a bit of negatives.
That's a double negative, Paul.
There you go. You should fuse, but I don't because I know what I'm doing. How do you know Johnny Hammersticks, Johnny New Guy, doesn't have an overflated ego and confidence level? Says, well, I'm new to this, but I can figure it out, so I'm not going to fuse either. You're professional, so apparently there's some benefit to doing it that way.
Oh yeah.
So I might not fully know that, but I'm going to be a professional too, and I'm going to do it just like you. And then they have wire that falls out while they're driving because of vibration. It falls out of the amplifier and starts touching everything, all the sheet metal. And
whatnot. I mean, as we keep talking about this, I'm reminded of, I don't do it much anymore, but I used to do some extreme overclocking, and I had a water cooling system. It was actually a water chilled system. I had thermoelectric coolers in there, and even though I'm overvolting the processor, overclocking it, and having it pull a lot and generate a lot of heat, I also properly cooled it down, right? So I had the water blocks on there, and then I had thermal shutdown in place. I had drip loops for all the areas where it would start to leak. I would make sure that the area that it would drip would be away from electronics. There are ways to get higher performance and max things out, but also be safe, right? So if you're going to do high performance, then there are other ways to get those incremental pieces of gain. Mm-hmm. just proper conductivity, proper terminals, and terminating areas. Like making sure that you're let's say use ferrules or something that's going to maximize the surface contact with the cable. Those are different ways you can get small little gains and minimize resistance without being dangerous.
Yeah. I've seen funny comments where someone was talking about not running fuses, not wanting to have additional connections and everything. And their goal is to have absolutely no connectors in between the battery and the amp. So someone humorously suggested that they said you're not really doing it up to its best if you're not direct leading the power wire to the circuit board of the amplifier. Oh. Which is kind of funny because going back in the day, there were amps like that. The Orion Beast, for instance, had copper power wire directly onto the board of the amplifier. So it just came out as pigtails, and then you would wire up through that. So we do it with our subs, so why not with the amplifier? Mm. So there's always going to be some sort of connector. You don't necessarily want to have one copper connector, solder it right to the cells of your battery bank.
Well, yeah.
And then solder the other end right to the PCB of the amplifier.
Well, yeah, people do that with their lugs. You know, like they'll crimp them, but then go in and like fill the thing with solder. You know what I mean? Like it's overkill. It's a lot of work. I'm not sure how much gain you get from that, but
yeah, and there could be. We want to minimize losses as much as possible, but there's other things that make sense. You want to be safe in doing it. So I'm an advocate of safety.
I don't wear underwear, Paul. So your point is moot.
Fuse yourself. Well, if you don't wear underwear and you don't fuse and you see arcs while you're working on it, then you're going to have messy pants.
It's true. It's very true.
Yeah.
Did your mom ever want you to have clean underwear?
I don't remember those statements.
I don't either. I don't. It's supposed to be a joke, like everybody
don't
went
forget
through
to
this.
pack clean underwear.
Yeah,
like
I don't think I've ever.
No, but there was one time I had two simultaneous issues when I was a kid. One is my bureau. It could be called a dresser, whatever part of the country you're from. Place where you keep your clothes with drawers. Part of it was falling off, and so I had to glue it, and I'm a kid, whatever tools I had to try and fix it, right? But at the same time, the drawstring of my sweatpants came out, and so I was trying to fish it back in. So
that's a lost cause. You're never going to do that.
No, I think I eventually did get it, but at that time I was sitting in my bedroom and I was kind of looking at my dresser, and I was sitting looking at it, but I was trying to fix the drawstring. My dad came in the door and said, "How are your drawers holding up?" And I was like, "Oh, they've been falling down, but I think I'm gonna." He's like, "No, I mean your dresser. What are you talking about?" And to this day, that just sticks in my head as a hilarious thing. So
I have one. So Chris Dolan across the street, his dad lent out the tent for Cub Scouts, and when it was given back to him, Chris and I went to set it up in the backyard. And Mr. Zimmerman's dirty undies were in there. Hopefully he's not watching this, or his sons, but he did have skid marks in his underwear. And Chris thought it was hilarious. So he fished it out with a branch in the backyard and then threw it up into a tree. And the tree happened to be right in front of where Mr. Dolan would eat his donuts. So he would lean against the sink over the sink, and he would be eating. He'd look out the window and then he saw the dirty undies. He's like, "What's Mr. Zimmerman's underwear doing up in the tree?" He got so mad. We thought it was hilarious, though.
He had his name written on it like Paul does.
Yeah, probably.
All right, well, it's about time to wrap it up. So, again, this is our Wednesday show. This was about some fuses and stuff. If you want to carry this conversation on to Friday, we will be on Friday, 5 o'clock. So you can ask questions here. This video is going to be up after the point, so you can still comment on it if you're watching this later. We can talk about other things, too, if you want to leave
we can talk more about skid marks if you guys want.
Yeah, if you want to leave a comment about skid marks or a funny story, then we could touch on that on Friday. Friday is going to be more of the conversational, just chatting with you guys out there, that sort of thing. So we still have our sale going on the website at sparkinnovations.com, but also our dealers out there have sales going on too. So one of our dealers is in the chat. That's Paul. He has G2. So if you want to go check that out or message him, I'm sure he won't mind if you want to buy stuff that he has in stock there. What else we got going on?
Golden ticket and sale. Those are the biggest things. You only have less than 2 weeks to hop on this sale. It's the largest that we've ever done in terms of discount. It's up to 20% off, depending on what you spend.
Ends February.
So, yeah, it does end at the end of this month. Ends on the 30th of February.
The 30th. Whoa. We will be at some shows. We'll have a show schedule coming up in person.
Mm-hmm.
The first one is going to be the TD8 show in Virginia, the end of March. So look for us there. We are on Facebook and YouTube at Sparked Innovations. We also do have an Instagram. I always mention this, and a TikTok, although we don't post there enough. And we've been working on our facility. So there's lights behind me here for our bench. And you can see our reflow oven. That's a solder oven for service mount stuff back there. So it's way in the back. It's not really that small.
It flows again.
It's actually bigger. It's just in the distance.
It's the oven that flows again.
Yeah. So please subscribe. We want to do this more and more. So if you subscribe, if you are watching on YouTube, Please subscribe and hit the bell icon to be notified. We're going to be here every Wednesday and Friday. Thank you, Phone, for telling me the show is over. I'm Ed.
I'm Rich.
We're Spark Innovations, and we'll see you next time.
Thank you.